Hello everybody, welcome to this playthrough for Master Division. This is a general playthrough where you will find general wins, so you will not have these wins in the tournament. In this playthrough, I will talk you through my thought process in terms of how to attack the specific holes that you're playing in the tournament. If you do enjoy the content here on the channel, please do hit the thumbs up button on the video. Also subscribe to the channel and turn on the notifications. For those of you that are looking to improve your Golf Clash game even more, you can now get access to our premium guides via the QR code here on the screen or via the links that is in the description down below. Now, most of you know that we have been doing tournament guides and also tour guides in the past, and we're still doing that to this day. But new thing to the channel is that we are now providing guides for Quick 9. They are the same as Ultimate Tournament text guides that we are attacking, helping players to become better players in Quick 9. We are committing for a certain amount of Quick 9s, we're not doing for every day. But you have the link to that specific Patreon in the description down below as well. Last but not least, we do have the info box on the right hand side for the club distance adjustment, elevation adjustment, also what ball and club type I do suggest you to play with. Have in mind that those are all suggestions, and if you don't want to follow it, then you don't have to do that either. But let's go to hole number 1. Wow, what a tough win to start with, and this is a Thor's Hammer 6 plus play that is focused on P4 or P5 wind 4 ball, 8.1 topspin. We're starting at the top of a plus 5 yard mark with Thor's Hammer level 8, and when it comes to Thor's Hammer level 7, level 6, we start at the top of plus 8 yard mark. I would say the red ring, use that as a reference for Thor's Hammer level 8. When it comes to Thor's Hammer level 6 and 7, follow the ball guidelines position, which is what we're looking for. Adjustment is max plus 10 P5. No overpower, no curl, nothing. Center the ball and we're gonna do a double bounce over the bunker. Even if you would clip the top of the bunker, it will roll out onto the fairway and then you just play it safely down towards the green. As we're using 8.1 topspin, then Thor's Hammer level 6 only has 7.8. We recommend there to push up half a ring to compensate for the less topspin there. This is not a shot that is tested with a wind 4 ball. Likely it would need a little bit more topspin, but if you do not have the possibility to play with a wind 5 ball, then make sure to test with a wind 4 ball in practice before you are going live. On the second shot, we are going to bounce over the bunker and we're gonna look for a fringe check where the fringe meets the green, and now we do have plus 14. Plus 14 is gonna be our base, and we're going to talk about that in a bit. 2 backspin to start with. We're looking for the top of the red ring by the sand trap line, ball guideline to go through the hole. Now, when we do set up this, it's very easy to still have a little gap from the top of the red ring to the sand trap line, and you can see that now. I still have a little gap, and now what I do is that I compensate with 1 click of overpower. If I have my red ring by the sand trap line, I'm not using any overpower because that's our default position. So once we have switched, once we have set up our position, we're switching to 2 backspin and 0.9 left spin. Adjustment from plus 14 as a base is a 30% slider. Power 5 numbers, no elevation, and we're dropping it dead center. This, even though I'm dropping it here, and this was actually on my live attempt, I would say that I would strongly, I would strongly see this one as a bonus drop. Very, very important to have that in mind. Hole 2 is good! I'm super pleased with this one. We're gonna play with the Rocket level 10, 8.1 backspin, which is 2 clicks more than 8 bars. Now we are at complete max line with the right side of the inner ring by the rough line. Now we're gonna take a look at the wind angle. This is gonna be what's gonna be the yellow angle. We are only gonna have 2 angles in the guide due to that we're playing into a pretty massive funnel if we execute it correct. Always 1 to 1 minus 1, so I'm executing 6.2 rings for 7.2 miles per hour. Center the ball, hit perfect in this angle. Once again, we're not going to have any curl. This has dropped with high wind, low wind, and mid wind. In this angle, when it comes to having more tailwind, we're actually going to have to go with just a click of underpower. Weirdly enough, even though it's more tailwind. But that's what we're going to have to do. This one dropped several times in practice, also dropped it live. Nice to have on hole number 2. Get the guide on patreon.com/golfclashtommy. It's qualifying round, we are taking it easy and we're just gonna lay up without having to use any overpower. This shot can be played with, or this play can be played with a Luminary as well. You don't have to play with a Power 5 Wind 4 ball. But I like to play with this type of ball. We have got a lot of these and it helps on the second shot. Now, favorite 12-1 on the drive, start at the top of plus 12 with the blue ring just by the edge there of the kind of bridge side or whatever it's called in English. Now, 1.8 ball of curl to the right, and no overpower, no underpower whatsoever. It's only 2 right spin, there's no top spin, no back spin. And the goal here is to get the ball consistently up the fairway, which is, again, this drive was super duper consistent with, and great left, great right is just very fine. 325 to 335 yards is what we are looking for. On the second shot, we are playing with the Guardian. The reason we play with the Guardian is that we can then rely on the same type of adjustment every time. Because when playing with a Cataclysm and people having Cat 5, 6, 7, and 8, that's going to be some different adjustment applied there. So in this case, we're going to have plus 18 as a base. That's 80% slider, minus 5% elevation, P5 numbers. 2 right spin, and we're gonna go with half a bar of top spin. The important part is to have the ball guideline through the hole, approximately 1.5 green square. In this angle, we're not gonna do anything. We're just going to play as is, and we are going to add 2 clicks of overpower if we do have the angle that is a little bit more headwind, because otherwise we risk coming short. So, getting this ball to drop for an albatross is definitely a bonus, but as I said in the beginning, there's definitely more fairway to explore further ahead. But as committed to this one, it's a simple, safe one, can be played with a free-to-play ball, and it's a nice drop chance. Get the guide on patreon.com/golfclashtommy. So here we start with any Power Zero ball. I start with a Wind 5 Power Zero ball because obviously then we can get the wind and find the spot easier. We're aiming at a blind spot, so it's red ring by the edge of the rough line, and that's the only focus point together with the white ring too. This is going to be the yellow angle, which is going to be called for 2 clicks of right curl. Trying to pull straight, favor 12-1 if anything. I have tested this shot for great left and great right, and unfortunately I did hit some too when not wanted to do that, and they are safe. It's a very good wind for this rough bump in my opinion. Adjustment 1-1 minus 0.3. Bounce into the rough and it rolls down the green. And we're getting it to drop right at pin for a beautiful hole-in-one here on hole number 4. Make sure to scan the QR code on the screen and get the Ultimate Tournament Guides for Pro Expert or a Master at patreon.com/golfclashtommy. Take your game to the next level with our Ultimate Tournament text guide for the Pixel Playground Tournament, a full 9 of the Old Bridge Park where we're playing in Tailwind. So hopefully there will be a lot of really fun Tailwinds to play in all the divisions. We are providing free-to-play ball alternatives and paid ball alternatives for all the holes that we are playing in Expert and in Master divisions. Make sure to get into the action and improve your game even more. Scan the QR code on the screen or go directly to patreon.com/golfclashtommy and sign up. You can get any of our 30-day packages or our annual package, but you can also pay a one-time fee if you do want to get access to a particular round. Last but not least, we just recently launched our new package line for the Quick Nines in Golf Clash, where we are providing an ultimate tournament text guide for Master Division for certain events of Quick Nine during the season. Lots of clans and individuals has already jumped on that, as it's a perfect chance to get some easy clan points and some great rewards together with that. So you have the link in the description down below as well to patreon.com/GCT Quick9 for more information. So now we are going to play with max top spin and 1 left spin. This is an Apoc 7 and 8 play. This is our aggressive option that we will be having in the guide. And the reason this is called aggressive is because we're taking a risk on the drive here, where a great left, or at least a bad great left, will clip the rough with the second bounce. I'm certain with that, even though I didn't test that. I was super lucky not clipping the rough with a single great left, but that is again with an Apoc 8. And I would say like this, any great left would not be good here. We're starting at the top of plus 27 with the second bounce to be just before it gets clipped by the rough. That's my only focus point. Adjust is max plus a 10 P5, and the goal here is to get the ball up to around 415 to 425. I'm playing with a Win 5 P5 ball to make sure that the only overpower I need to have is what I adjust into on the drive, which is not much with a Win 5. With a Win 4, that will increase. It's also a problem on the second shot with a Win 4 ball as well, that you might go into overpower, have to go overpower there. So I would say if you cannot play with a Win 5 P5 ball here, I would recommend to go with a more safer option with a Luminary and not really waste much time here. I'm not gonna sit here and say that even though this is an aggressive option and our play for pushing for an Albatross, I'm not gonna sit here and say that this is gonna be money. This is gonna be a tough one to drop, and you are dependent on playing with high level Cataclysm or to play with a Horizon level 6+. We're looking for max top spin half a right, having the ball guideline to go approximately 1.5 green square left of pin, with the second bounce to be just to where it clips the rough. Plus 15 by the rough line shake, because sometimes we are not going to be in landing position yardage. Then plus 15 is going to be 70% slider, 10% elevation, P5 numbers. Here I do drop down into the water, and then I should be playing with 2 clicks of overpower, which I don't do here. And the reason I do need to do that overpower is because obviously I'm falling down to a lower point. It's not going to be any risk, but when forgetting that, you can see here that it comes in with a nice line, but it curves off to the right and we go short. So I need those 2 clicks of overpower and then to give a chance. I would say with a perfectly executed here, we will be around the hole and we will have an outside chance for an Albatross. But once again, we play an aggressive drive, and we need to really think twice before playing if you feel confident with that. It's only qualifying rounds, it's nothing against playing a safer play and just getting the eagle, but this is the aggressive option for us here on hole number 5. Get the guide on patreon.com/golfclashtommy. For the free-to-play option and the less aggressive option, I would have to say we're going to play with 7 top spin and 2 left spin. Have in mind also you're playing with Apocalypse level 5 has to play with an Albatross ball, or you're going to have to increase the overpower, and we're going to talk about that in a bit. Blue Rain by the rough line at max with Apoc 8. And we are adjusting max plus 10 P5. Pay close attention to how many rings you adjust into overpower. You can see here I'm being approximately 2.5 rings into overpower after my adjustment. And what I'm gonna do here now is that I'm gonna use a half a ring more than what I adjust into. So I'm gonna play with 3 rings of overpower, no curl. I would say a great right is better than a great left, but looking to where my first and the second bounce are, we should be fine with a great left here too. But again, I'm not gonna sit here and say that this is gonna be a simple drive, because it's not. If you do not execute properly, there's definitely a risk of clipping in the rough with either the first bounce or with the second bounce, with this or with the aggressive option. If you play with Apocalypse level 5, you need to add 1 ring extra overpower to compensate, which obviously will be tricky, but unfortunately that's what's going to be needed to be done. So for the second shot here, it's either going to be the big dog level 8 plus or with the Cataclysm level 6 plus, because we want to use 7 top spin to right spin. So the thing we need to have in mind here is that, and the reason I'm actually using this video as well as a replay, is because I'm making a very bad great left, and it's still safe, and that's actually good to have in mind because we have a lot of fairway to bounce on after the rough there. So the intention here is to clip the rough with the second bounce. That's the intention. I'm adjusting max plus 10 from plus 10 using 2 right spin and 7 top spin, and then I'm using whatever overpower I adjust into as the overpower amount. You can see how bad that great left is, and that bad great left will miss the rough. And now I'm thinking, okay, I'm 100% gonna roll into the rough in the back, even with that glitch roll. But you can still, I'm still super safe because I do have a lot of room. So even if you do hit a bad great, you will be very safe. And again, we are not playing for anything else than an eagle, so regardless where we end up, for a wedge or for a putt, it's still gonna be an easy way for us to lock in the eagle, and we have only wasted a luminary. Get the guide on patreon.com/golfclashtommy. So on the drive here, we are going to go with 2 right spin and 5.8 top spin. And you can see that I'm looking around a little bit for different landing spot, but ending up in the end to be at the top of plus 9 with the right side of the white ring by the rough line to the right. You can see here I'm setting the target now. So at the top of plus 9, white ring to the rough line. Obviously, we do have some overlap with a POC 7 and then a POC 5-6. This is an adapted play for a POC 5 plus users. And I also think, though, that even though it might be interesting to use more topspin, I honestly think using more topspin makes this drive riskier. I rather than play with overpower like I'm doing here in the video, which obviously is harder to hit perfect, but based on where I land, definitely single greats should be fine. But this is the tough part with this par 4 here. We need to push this drive, but again, I don't think more topspin is going to make this much safer, because then there's a risk of having longer rollouts and there's risk to fall down on the side if using too much topspin. You can see that I was using 2 balls of right curl. Those are using a grid line, having the grid line with the center line to be just by the edge of the right side triangle, and using 3 rings of overpower plus whatever I adjust into. So if you don't adjust into overpower, you use 3 rings. You can use a P5 Win 4 ball to minimize the shake of the needle, especially in lower wind. That will be very helpful, but that's obviously up to you. There's no chance here that we can play in a way that we can consistently go for an for an eagle, because the wind is in a situation like that it's forcing us to only play for a birdie. So play it with caution, and again, if you get a birdie, be happy with that. So on the second shot here with a luminary, and we're gonna go 2 right and we're gonna go 7 topspin, looking here for the rough line check. You can see that I did one at plus 9. You see here now that I'm looking for my ball guideline to be approximately 1 ring from the rough edge, with the ball guideline falling down just by the left of that bunker. Adjust here from plus 9, I adjust max plus 10 P5, and we go full curl to the right. If you do not have cat 6 plus, you play with the big dog level 8 plus. Doesn't matter what club here really to use. Obviously it's better with the good accuracy, such with the cat. And you can see here that the goal here is not to go for the pin, because that's really not going to be a possibility. So we're playing down safely to just lock in the birdie. This is one of the toughest par 4, probably the toughest par 4 in the game in my opinion, or at least one of the toughest I've been playing in a very long time. And a birdie here should be considered almost like a drop, as the wind comes right to left, as explained on the drive. There isn't any chance here for you in whatever way of consistently attacking the pin for an eagle, and therefore we're playing it safely for a birdie, trying to waste as little time possible, and also not trying to spend any good balls either. Get the guides on patreon.com/golfclashtommy. So here we start with any p5, win the 5 ball. This is a very good shot and drop plenty for me in practice. Obviously, I didn't drop live, just as standard. Yellow ring to the right by the rough line in complete max distance. The plus 16 is just wrong because, again, it's a replay glitch. It's gonna be max p5 line. So now we're going to adjust 1 to 1 plus 0.7, which is 8.8 rings. Once we have done that, I'm switching to any P3 side spin, 3 win 5 balls, and playing 4.5 backspin and 3 right spin. In this wind angle here, it should be called for 2 clicks of left curl. I'm using 1 too much here, which is the reason why you see that I slipped there in the end, which is the reason why I'm dropping this one left side of the cup. The ball, you can see here, bounced nicely into the rough. There is room for a great left and a great right, and it rolls down the green, and we're dropping this one left side of the cup. Again, we did need 1 click less, so 2 clicks of left curl is it in that angle. Obviously, we will display the different angles in the guide as well. But this, in my opinion, is a good chance. I would say have in mind that you need to do a ball swap to set the spins, so that you're setting it up with a p5 ball at max, even though the replay glitch here shows the wrong thing. Get the guide on patreon.com/golfclashtommy. So on hole number 8, we're starting with any ball really. We do want to find the top of +0, which is max P0 line, with the second bounce just by the rough line. Now 7 top spin, 1 left spin is what I'm using, and I'm using a P3 win 5 ball. For those that have the possibility to play with a P4 win 5 ball or a P5 win 5 ball, that's going to be much easier, because then you don't have to go with any overpower on the drive, like never. But now, as I'm playing with a P3 ball, I'm going to have to apply whatever overpower I adjust into. So especially those of you that do play with an Apocalypse level 5 that needs to add an additional ring to what you adjust into, that could definitely become a good thing to use a P4 win 5 or a P5 win 5. Obviously, you can play with a win 4 ball as well, but if you do want to play with a win 4, I would recommend to play with either a P4 ball or a P5 ball, for that matter, to not maximize the overpower completely, because we do want it perfect. Single great left, single great right has been fine, so that's no issues in that way, and we do want to get to around 350 to 360 yards. Second shot, now we are going to play with 1 right spin and 2 backspin. Ball guideline to hole. Have in mind that you can play this one with a B52 level 7 or level 8, or you go to Grizzly level 9. We will have numbers for Grizzly in the guide too, obviously. Now from +4 we play max +15 P3 numbers, and then we're adding or subtracting from there. So +5, we're adding an extra 0.1. No double pull over bullseye, so we pull, in this case we're gonna pull 10.5 rings. So I'm pulling the 0.5 first without pulling over bullseye, and I'm pulling the extra 10. Center the ball and hit perfect, and this, in my opinion, is probably gonna be our best chance, together with hole number 2, to consistently have a drop on our scorecard. Bounces on the fairway, and it rolls up lovely right at pin for a beautiful eagle here on hole number 8. Get the guides on patreon.com/golfclashtommy. Hole number 9, we start from NMT position with a P5 side spin 4 wind 0 ball. Now we're looking at the wind angle from the NMT position, and this is going to be what we will classify as blue angle in the guide. We are moving 9 rings to the right from NMT with a POC 8. Obviously that will differ with a POC 5, 6 and 7. Now we're going to pull back in this angle, and we're going to pull back in this case to +29, always to the top of it, and then we're adding 6.5 top spin and as much left spin that you can get, which always will become 3.5 left spin. Full curl to the left and try to release with the max hook. Obviously now we know that a POC 5, 6 and 7 has slightly less curl than a POC 8, but it's still going to be the play to do, because now we're going to actually try to go for green, or at least close to it. And then, I mean, I would say two things can happen if executed properly, and that is that you will either get stuck into the rough there by the trees, and hopefully you don't have a tree in your face, and then you do have the other one where you go through and you do have a wedge. And that's, I would say it's very difficult to construct a drive like that so it becomes super solid, but at least with the two wind angles suggested that we will have, it will give you one of the other. And it's a nice simple play. However, though, it required a p5 wind 0 ball. Get the guide on patreon.com/GolfClashTommy. So on the wedge, you can see here now that we're playing this wedge downhill, so it's going to be a little bit different than the normal rule from the regular EB school to the max topspin rule. So when it comes to the regular EB school, we're going to play no spin, obviously, as always, and we're going to play plus 30%. But when it comes to using the max topspin here, as the green is slightly downhill and the ball will roll much easier, we're gonna still keep the minus 35% P4 rule for those that do want to play the max topspin. And I would recommend that if you do have end bearing level 7 or level 8. And super simple wedge really, and it should be that you lock in the albatross. Thank you so much everybody for watching this playthrough for Master Division. This is a playthrough with general wins. These are not the wins that you will have in the tournament. If you are looking to improve your game even more, you can scan the QR code here on the screen or use any of the links that is in the description down below. Now we're providing ultimate tournament text guides, or we have done that in the past, but we are providing ultimate tournament text guides for every tournament that's being hosted. Also our exclusive tour shootout guides. But not just that, we are now providing seasonal packaging for individuals and clans when it comes to Quick 9, where we're doing a specific amount of Quick 9s every single season as of now. Look into that via the links that is in the description down below or via the QR code here on the screen.